This week, I'm talking about another highly requested topic, and that is how often should you weigh yourself after having weight loss surgery? How often you weigh yourself is a pretty personal preference, but today I'll be walking you through my thought process and what works for me, and I'll also be sharing my weekly weigh-in. Welcome to my channel. My name is Sara, and I have been sharing my weight loss journey here on YouTube since 2020. I started documenting my weight loss at around 275 pounds, and since then I've lost over 100 pounds with diet, exercise, and the help of bariatric surgery, which is a vertical sleeve gastrectomy that I had in August of 2022. And I have just about 30 pounds to go until my final goal weight of 140 pounds. I love to share my weekly progress and talk about topics that are meaningful or helpful to you. So if there's something you want to learn about from my experience and point of view, be sure to leave me a comment below, because I'm really sharing the ups and downs of my entire weight loss journey, as well as all the things that I've learned along the way. If that sounds interesting to you, I would love it if you went ahead and hit that subscribe button and followed along with my journey, and let me know if you are considering weight loss surgery, if you just had it, or if you're not considering it but just following along for the tips, because a lot of these apply to everybody who's on a weight loss journey in general. So today I'm talking about weigh-in frequency and what has worked for me over the last 3 years. I think determining your own weigh-in frequency depends on a couple of things, and I'm gonna go through those and kind of discuss them. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. I think I've got a few tips here that'll really help you determine how often you should be weighing yourself. So first things first, whether you decide to weigh yourself daily, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, quarterly, whatever frequency that you decide on, the important thing is to do your weigh-in consistently. That means weighing in at the same time, on the same day of the week or day of the month, whatever you choose, in the same clothes, and on the same scale, in the same place every time you weigh in. This is going to give you the most accurate picture of your weight change over time. The next thing I want you to think about is your mental or emotional attachment to that number on the scale. Weight can fluctuate for a very wide variety of reasons, not limited to retaining water from maybe eating too much salt or too many carbohydrates. If you have hormonal fluctuations, that's gonna show on the scale too. The type of exercise you're doing and whether you've pooped or not in the last couple of days. All of those things can cause your weight to fluctuate. If seeing those up and down fluctuations is something that's going to mess with your head or impact how you move forward on your journey, maybe daily weigh-ins are not for you, because that's where you're gonna see the most fluctuation is from day to day. But that's not to say you won't see fluctuations from week to week as well. That's why it's so important to be consistent with your habits, so that you know that whatever program you're working or routine you're into is working to help you meet your weight loss goals. The last thing I want you to consider when you are determining your weigh-in frequency is how you like your numbers. If you like lots of data points and smaller numbers, then daily weigh-ins might be good for you. But if you like to see bigger numbers or more drastic changes on the scale, then I would suggest weekly, bi-weekly, or once a month. Really think about what's going to motivate you or what you want or hope to see on the scale before determining how often you're going to weigh in, because it will make a big difference. One more thing to keep in mind is if your bariatrics team suggests a frequency of weigh-in, go with that. Always go by what your surgeon says. I feel like that's just an easy rule to follow, is if they say only weigh yourself every 2 weeks, then only weigh yourself 2 weeks. Every bariatric program is different, so keep that in mind when you are determining how often you want to weigh in. It's really important to remember after weight loss surgery, especially in those first 3 months or so, your weight and the number on the scale is gonna be really wacky, just to be honest. You're going through the healing process, and the healing process from a major surgery, no matter what kind you have had, is going to cause things like water retention. It's going to slow down and stall out. Very, very common is the 3-week stall. So one thing that you might want to consider is, especially in that first 3 months, is really not weighing yourself as much as possible, which is very hard to do because you just had this surgery, you're going to start losing weight, in those first couple weeks, you're not eating very much. And so seeing those big numbers on the scale in those first few weeks is like, oh, yes, I'm finally losing weight. And it's so exciting. But at the same time, when it does eventually kind of level off and slow down, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm not losing weight like I was in the first 6 to 8 weeks. What am I doing wrong? Right? Keep that in mind. I would say the first 3 months for sure, it's going to be really wacky. You're going to see some crazy numbers. You're going to see things on the scale and be like, WTF is going on? But you're in the healing process. So just be mindful of that. Give your body some grace as you recover from a major surgery where you removed part of your stomach or you rerouted your digestive system. Depending on which surgery you had, that's going to be different for everybody. So again, just give yourself that grace, especially during the healing phase. As time goes by, you're going to learn how to recognize your fluctuations. In my case, I know around my time of month, I will either have no or very little weight loss. It's even possible that the scale could go up a bit. It happens to me pretty regularly, and now I'm just accustomed to it. And I know if it's, my period, I'm probably not going to lose anything significant, or I may even have a gain. And I just keep that in mind. And the most important thing of all to remember is that the scale does not determine your worth. It does not determine your value. Having a weigh-in that doesn't go the way that you want it to does not cancel out all of the hard work and effort that you've already put in. There are a million other ways to celebrate your success and think about things like your measurements. Take those at least once a month. Your clothes, how are your clothes fitting? How have your sizes changed over time? Are your pants too big on you? Do you need to go shopping? That's a huge victory. And I am a big fan of celebrating those non-scale victories along the way. Those are the things that really add up to a lifestyle change and are going to make you feel good on the inside and the outside. Stay consistent, work your program, and trust the process because the scale will eventually move. If you're putting in the work, it's going to show eventually. You just sometimes have to be patient. So personally, I weigh myself every single day at the same exact time, in the same exact place, the same exact way. When I wake up, I go to the bathroom. I usually do pee, and then I will take off everything. I like to weigh myself completely naked, and I will take off my Apple Watch, and if I have anything in my hair, I'll take that out. So it's completely just me and my body getting on the scale. It's worth mentioning here that I like to have a lot of data points. I like to be able to look for patterns and trends in the data. That's something I do in my day-to-day life. So naturally in my personal life, that carries over a little bit. And I like to kind of pick out things. And that's how I learned really about how much my hormones play a role in what number shows on the scale. What I consider my official weigh-in for the week, and by official, I mean that's what I share with you, and that is what I share and log in my Berrytastic app, which is the app I use to log my food intake, water intake, and my weight and measurements. That happens every Saturday. So Saturday morning, that is like my official weigh-in for the week. But the cool thing is I can look at averages throughout the week because I weigh myself every single day. So if on Saturday, for some some reason my weight goes up, I can kind of take a look at maybe, what was the number on Wednesday versus Saturday, and what activities did I do in between there? Did I do a heavy weightlifting routine? Did I not exercise as much as I should have? Did I eat something that had a lot of salt in it? I'll take a look at all those things and use that as a learning lesson moving forward. I've also never been shy about skipping a weigh-in completely. This was especially important to me when I was struggling with binge eating. I knew that if I had binged the day before I was going to do an official weigh-in, that I should not weigh myself. And I learned to recognize that by doing that, by weighing myself after having binged, it would kickstart the cycle of shame for me and more than likely lead to another binge, or at worst, like a week worth of binge, because, well, I screwed up and, the scale went up 5 pounds and now I just ruined everything that I did. I really had to learn how to cope with that, and the best thing to do in my experience was just skip that weigh-in completely. And I had people on YouTube here get really kind of pissed at me for doing that, but it's important to me to protect my mental health, especially while I was working through that issue. It was even more important, and I didn't need to go looking for reasons to shame myself because I already felt that enough internally as it was. So if that's you and you struggle sometimes with what the number on the scale shows, and like, let's just use like a holiday, for example, you overeat on Thanksgiving, maybe the day after Thanksgiving is like not the greatest day to weigh yourself, right? Just skip, do the things that you need to do in order to be successful at weight loss. Drink extra water to kind of clear off any of the water that you're holding on to, and just move on. And the next weigh-in will be okay. You'll just see what the results are then, and then you can kind of make your decision from there. So don't be afraid to skip a weigh-in if you know it's not going to serve you in any way, or if you know you're not in the right headspace, or you've overeaten the day before. Like, don't let anybody, or yourself for that matter, make you feel forced to weigh yourself, because you're not. You are in control. I hope this information has been helpful, and if it gave you any food for thought, let me know in the comments below. What's something that maybe you did or did not consider? If you want to share how often you weigh yourself and how it affects you. Why do you like to weigh in at that frequency? It may help somebody else who's just getting started. So now for my official weekly weigh-in. Last week I weighed in at 169.2 pounds. This week I weighed in at 167.4 pounds. So that is a loss of 1.8 pounds for the week. And it brings my all-time weight loss to 107 pounds. It also leaves me with 27.4 pounds to go until my final weight goal of 140 pounds. So very excited about that, making good progress. I'm feeling really good about it, and I'm excited. Next week's weigh-in might be a little wonky, and this is a good example of all the things that I'm talking about in the earlier part of this video. I'm traveling. I always retain water when I travel by plane. It's just something I have learned to accept. The last time I was on a flight, it happened. The time before that. So at this point, I'm just pretty much used to it, and I don't let it get to me. So if next week's weigh-in is a little wacky, then so be it, right? I know what's caused that. It's gonna be the travel. It's just part of my life that I have to deal with. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate you. If you really liked it, be sure to share it with somebody who might find it useful. And on your way down to the comments section to say hello, don't forget to boop the little thumbs up button. It really helps the channel and my video, and more people will see it. So it's a win-win for everybody. And I cannot wait to see you in the next one. So bye for now.